Hi and welcome. This is Facebook Live with the mayor, and today we actually have Sarah Soggin that's here with me. We're going to be talking about all the cool things that are going on in Gresham. We're going to give you some highlights of what's happening and maybe just a little bit of a review for 2023. Some of the things that have happened over time and kind of how we look forward. So does that sound like a good plan?
I think we can do it.
Perfect. Well, let's kick it off with talking about 2023 then, because 2023, we had a lot of stuff that happened last year. It was a busy year. I'm trying to think of some
like favorite moments.
One of the things that was really cool was our youth services engagement team really got kicked off in 2023. We saw some fun things happen, helping over, I think, 1,300 youth get connected to events and opportunities. And so that's one thing that I really, I grew up in inner city, Kansas, and it was youth engagement type programs like that really gave me a great foothold in life. And what do you know? Today I get to be the mayor of Oregon's fourth largest city, which is an absolute honor and a kick. And so that's one thing that I think was in 2023 a really cool thing that I could take away.
Big events that they did this year. They did Play Ball, which they do every
Play Ball,
year.
yep.
But that's always a favorite. They
that's
actually got
one.
Some Mariners, I believe, to participate in it this time around, which I don't know that we've had in the past.
Yep.
We started movies in the park.
Music Mondays continue.
Yeah.
For those types of things, and again, that's we got youth engagement. We got the rock climbing at the new rock gym down off of 223rd.
Yeah.
I know one thing that one of these days I keep saying I'm going to get out and
are you going to rock climb
and enjoy rock climbing. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
It's the CrossFit. So there's CrossFit that we actually work with our youth on. And I keep telling them I'm going to get out to do some CrossFit, but I hear CrossFit's pretty tough. Have you ever done CrossFit?
I've done it.
Not
well.
I've not done it.
But if you do it, I'll do
it. And I don't think I will do. Okay. Well, that might be the right challenge to get me motivated.
I thought you were going to say that you wouldn't do it.
That might be the challenge that gets me motivated to go out and do some CrossFit. Okay. So some really cool things about youth engagement. I know we did some fun stuff in the summer, but that's one of the highlights for me for 2023. What about you? Anything that you can recall? That 2023 that I think were highlights for the city of Gresham.
I'm a big fan of all of our events that we do here. And we did the Safety Fest last year for the first time, which was an incredible resource with all of our different public safety folks. We had fire, we had police, we had our emergency management. We had people handing out helmets for riding bikes. We had all sorts of things.
Which is important. I really like to say and advocate for wearing your helmets when you're cycling. We're not far from Mount Hood, and when you're snowboarding and when you're skiing, critical times to be wearing those helmets and head protection.
Absolutely. We did station story times with our police and fire. Those were a lot of fun. The art festival is always a good time.
Absolutely. Teddy Bear Parade. Another annual event that has a great turnout. Yeah. As we move further in the year, of course, we just got out of the holiday season. We had the Spirit of Gresham. That was a great turnout. A little bit warmer than last year. Last year was a little bit cold and windy for the event.
Windy. I remember.
We still had a pretty good turnout.
We did.
But this year, the rain waited until after we were all done, and so we had another good turnout for that. One other thing that you have another event?
I have not an event, but I think it's worth noting because this stands out to me in 2023. So in 2022, we really kicked off Safe Gresham.
Yes.
But in 2023, I think is when we really started to see some of the effects of that program.
That's correct.
And I just want to highlight that.
Safe Gresham. It's certainly, as we look at the collaboration that we're having with other agencies across the region, both on the law enforcement side, on the fire side, on the emergency medical response, and not just that, but also in the youth engagement and those types of things. Those are all things that you're right. I mean, we're starting to see, those collaborations paying off. We saw a pretty substantial decrease in car thefts in 2023.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, both across the region and here locally. So those are all things that are positive. We've got a long ways to go.
Sure.
But we did see a pretty significant decrease in car thefts in 2020,
I believe
2023.
Some other areas as well. I don't want to get ahead of, the chief and his numbers and all the things that are going to come out. But I believe there were several other areas that we saw a decrease this past year as well.
Yes, as a matter of fact. Speaking of vehicles, the city of Gresham welcomed a new fire truck.
Oh, that's
So
right.
we welcomed a new fire truck. Fire trucks last about 10 years. And ours was, I believe, on year 12 or maybe even 13. So it was overdue for replacement, and we had an opportunity to get it early in the process because I guess the prices have gone up substantially since then. So
Fun
it's
fact
good
that
we
I
got it.
didn't know about that. We actually placed the order for that, what, 2 or 3 years ago?
That's
because
correct.
that's how long it takes, right, for them to actually build the apparatus
Yes.
and deliver it. So this was not something we just decided on a whim, like,
We need a new fire truck. And-
Correct. Takes planning.
Yeah.
So we
Oh, weird.
So we got that. So we got that done. Another thing that I'm a pilot, so I love flying airplanes. And if anybody wants to check it out, we actually have a video. My first year as mayor, we did the State of the City update. It was still COVID, so we couldn't really get out and talk to a bunch of folks. But we did the State of the City kind of update with me flying the airplane.
That is fun.
And for those of you who are going to be checking that out, you just go to YouTube and type in Gresham from 1,500 feet up or 1,500. You should be able to find it. But one of our excellent comms person, Robin Franzen, she actually was in the back of the aircraft
That does not
as
surprise
we were
me.
flying
She
along.
loves those opportunities.
And they really enjoyed the opportunity. And just so that we stayed, focused, so I could fly and talk, I actually brought a commercial pilot with me. And so the commercial pilot is sitting in the co-pilot seat. So she's a professional pilot and flight instructor. So gave us just an extra set of eyes, so we're safe. And so with all that said, that wasn't really the end point. The end point was the fact that we launched our drone program last year here in the city of Gresham. Our drone program allows us to be able to get a drone up in the sky when something happens, and really has some eyes on the skies and eyes on the ground fairly quickly. So there, in some instances, it can take multiple minutes, sometimes 7 to 10 minutes to get to a location. We could have that drone there and sometimes in 2 minutes, and eyes unseen. So that's ways we're leveraging technology to extend the work that we're doing here in the city of Gresham.
I've heard that some of the officers say that because they're able to do that and send a drone out and get eyes on the scene before the patrol units actually arrive, that oftentimes, maybe not often, but they've been able to clear situations that don't actually need officer presence before the patrol officers even get there. So they can just reroute and go to a more urgent call rather than wasting time and going to something that they don't really need to be involved in.
That is actually true. And lastly, before we leave the drone conversation, the drone was up on another incident and got a call that there was a fire in progress. And they were able to move the drone over to the situation where the fire was going on. And there were actually officers on scene, and they could hear voices, but they could not locate them. They were able to fly the drone over, locate the individuals in the backyard, were able to tear down part of the fence to get them out to safety. So those are the types of things that we have the capabilities of doing. And there's other agencies that are now coming in and looking at our program. So some cool things happened in 2023. And we look forward to our opportunity as we look to 2024 for other improvements, other opportunities for advancement here in the city. Speaking of 2023, and which is going to have a little bit of carryover into 2024, is the safety levy that we had in 2023. We all know that it fell by about 2%. So it's one of the closest levies that we've had. It does, because we sorely need the opportunity to bring better investments to the city of Gresham. And so in 2023, we know that we were really, really close. We listened to the community, and we're going to continue listening. Right now, the city council has voted to bring it back in 2024 with some adjustments based on the community feedback that we received. And so I've had a number of conversations since then, and I feel like what we're looking at now in this 2024 levy really is responsive to what our community members have outlined of what they want to see in one going forward. And so with that, we're actually having a conversation this afternoon at 4 p.m., the city council work session. So folks can tune in to kind of get up to speed on what's going on with the levy and what we're looking at from a perspective of finances for the city as we look forward. So 4 p.m. tune in, see what's going on there as far as the safety levy goes.
It's a great reminder that our city council meetings are a good way to stay informed on all the things that are going on.
That it is. So I mean, we have generally two council meetings per month. We have work sessions that give us an opportunity as council to work through more complex issues. And so staff and other, sometimes outside folks make presentations to the council. That's an opportunity to kind of listen in. We don't do public comment at those. But at the 6 o'clock meeting, we do public comment. So folks who have a desire to come in and talk to the council, you've got two ways of doing that. You can sign up the day before to come and talk to the council in person, or you can actually send in written comments, and we get those. We put them in the packets. We don't necessarily read them. Well, we read them, but we don't read them out loud at the council meeting. So we do read those, just not in that context. But those go into the council packets so that everybody gets to see what those comments were. So we really want folks to be engaged, give us their thoughts and ideas, because in democracy, it's all about listening, to everyone and making sure we make the right decisions as we move forward. So good point. Really want to make sure that folks are aware and you have an opportunity to speak to the council, or you can also just send in information from a written perspective.
Good to know.
2024, I feel like, started off with a positive bang.
2024 did start off with a positive bang.
In the news a little bit.
In that, yes, we got notification that one of our businesses that exist here in Gresham, Microchip, received a pretty substantial grant from the CHIPS Act funding. So CHIPS Act, the federal government says, hey, we want to be more competitive on a global scale when it comes to manufacturing microchips. So the things that go in computers and phones and cars, they not potato chips. So when we say microchip, we're not talking about really tiny potato chips. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, I know, really tiny. We're talking about the computer chips that go into all the devices that we use these days. I forget, the number is tremendous how many microchips go into cars now. Yeah. But everything has a chip in it. I mean, you think about historically thermostats. Of course, thermostats now talk through the phone. You've got the opportunity for what is it? Wi-Fi connectivity for your my washer and dryer are now Wi-Fi connected.
Your refrigerator,
right?
Yeah. Like
so a refrigerator, I can tend to understand and appreciate a little bit better than my washer and dryer. I do not need to know which cycle my washer and dryer are on to effectively live a life of fulfillment.
I feel like this may be an overstep, but
I appreciate it.
So ultimately, these microchips go into everything. Well, Microchip, the company organization, received $72 million. $72 million to invest in the Gresham plant. Last year, in 2023, that was another significant event because they announced, actually previous year, they announced an $800 million investment into that plant, which would provide 600 additional jobs here in the city of Gresham. 600 additional jobs.
Incredible.
It's incredible. And these are what we call future ready jobs, because these are jobs that are going to be around for a long time, because microchips, you talk to the folks in the industry and they consistently say we're on the front end of microchip adoption. They're going to continue to be in about everything that we have and we manufacture and we produce. And so it's only a growing industry. So we don't want to be in an industry that's dying. I don't think we want to be in the horse and buggy industry. We want to be in an industry that's going to move forward.
Yeah.
And so Microchip has been a great corporate partner. They actually came to us last year and says, hey, we know that part of our manufacturing process produces ammonia. And ammonia is in pretty much all wastewater. But they says, hey, we know that at some point a wastewater treatment plant has to put equipment in that removes ammonia from wastewater. They contributed $8 million to the city of Gresham to be able to put nitrification, which is a process that pulls ammonia out of our wastewater. They also gave us another $8 million in a low interest loan. And we're talking to other organizations here in the region to contribute additional investments into that. So it's a tremendous opportunity to move forward. And we also have a request at the federal level right now for another, I think it's about 1.6 million, no, 1 million, just under $1 million for that project. And it's a win-win-win situation in that, we get the opportunity to have private investment, we get the opportunity to have federal investment, And then we also are pushing cleaner water out into our water area. So it's environmentally, very environmentally friendly. So a great corporate partner there. And really, at the foundation of community is about ensuring that people that live in our community have family wage jobs.
Yep.
And there are jobs, and they're here,
in
this community, because the moment they have to what we call out-migrate means they have to leave our community every day to just access employment opportunities, is the moment that it decreases family time, increases their commute time. All of the things are challenged. But to have 600 additional jobs here in our community is tremendous. We've got other facilities. We've got onsemi. For those folks who don't know, we actually have two microchip plants here in the area that produce microchips, onsemi, and we have microchip. For other folks that don't know, we also have a pretty large Boeing plant here. So we do have lots of opportunity for employment from healthcare with Mount Hood Medical Center, education with Mount Hood Community College, through these types of opportunities that exist. And why do I talk about jobs so much? It's because it's the foundation of opportunity. And work readiness for the future. And some of the jobs that exist in the chip manufacturing area, some of those jobs require a GED or high school equivalent, a high school diploma, and you could make over $100,000.
That's incredible.
It's incredible. It takes it takes effort and takes attention and showing up for work and all those things. But you have the opportunity to make $100,000 with a high school diploma or GED, a high school equivalent.
And it seems like a lot of those companies have those programs put in place so that if you start at one point, you have opportunities, depending on what you want, what your aspirations and dreams and all those things are, that you can continue to
grow your career path and stay within that organization.
Absolutely. And that's the amazing thing. I think some of these organizations offer. They offer a tremendous opportunity for on-the-job training. So if you come to them and you have a willingness to be focused, and really want the opportunity, you can move you forward. Now, to that end, we also have other organizations throughout the community. One of those is Portland Opportunities and Industrialization Center and Rosemary Anderson High School. So they're connected. One's workforce training. That's Portland Opportunities and Industrialization Center. Rosemary Anderson High School is effectively a high school. So they work at job retraining and workforce retraining. And Mount Hood does some of that stuff with some of the programs that they have. And really, they can take folks who really have that interest, give them foundational training, and they have the opportunity to go work with these companies and organizations. There's another company here in our community called Element 6. They're the ones that grow diamonds.
I like them already.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, we have one of the only facilities in the country. I think there's only a few, and they grow diamonds right here in Gresham. And so, they're also looking for folks who exist in that same industry, in the chip kind of, but it's more so on the mechanical and maintenance side. So lots of opportunity that exists right here in our communities, and that's grown over time. So those are some things that really are focused on. And I think there's going to be some announcements coming soon about more opportunities. Granger, I didn't even think about Granger.
Groundbreaking last year.
Granger was groundbreaking last year. Highlight. So that was pretty significant. That's going to bring, I believe, a couple of hundred jobs at least, to the area. It's going to be a regional facility, a distribution facility. So it's going to serve, up into Washington, down in the southern Oregon, and maybe northern California, maybe over in western Idaho actually. And so again, I mean, you start to think about, wow, all the cool things that are going on down on 181st and Sandy. There's development going on down there. It's pretty significant development. That's almost all built out, which historically, that was vacant land. And then there's one other opportunity that we didn't reference, and that's the groundbreaking for the new library.
Wait, there's more.
I know, and wait, there's more. It's the new library groundbreaking.
Oh my gosh, how could we miss that?
It's right next door, and there's a lot of dirt being turned there in regards to what's going on. I'm looking forward to that starting to build. It's going to be pretty phenomenal. And again, the libraries of the future are not the libraries of the past. The libraries of the future are going to have more of a community type feel to it, so that we have the opportunity to really engage folks at different levels. There's going to be a multi-seat amphitheater that exists there that will be open to the community. We'll have other opportunities for engagement there. maybe some maker spaces and things like that that we'll have available
And that's
in that facility.
Partnership with Multnomah County, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
that is
So it's the Multnomah County Library System.
Yeah.
You know, they're actually making the investments anywhere
Okay.
between 135 to 145 million that they're investing. We're partnering on some key things there, but the absolute majority of that investment's coming from Multnomah County. So it's kind of giving back for, you know, the investments that we make in the county. They're bringing those dollars back right here in our community, which is paramount.
I'm
so
really looking forward to that space.
so am I. Again, I think we're going to be able to leverage that in new ways. And I know there's the possibility of a rooftop garden. I don't think they have it fully funded yet, and that's the only question. And maybe they can have it set up to where, you know, once they get funding, they can still install it and so create the building.
Okay.
But a rooftop garden. I don't know why that's so hard to say.
It's
A rooftop garden that they can have events, and in summertime, folks can go up and enjoy.
I think we might have a question.
We do, and it relates to the library.
Yay.
What is going on with the old library location?
That's a great question. That's a great question. And the short answer to that is we don't know. Just because it is the Multnomah County, the Multnomah County's building.
Okay.
So Multnomah County owns the building, and they're looking at last time I heard, they're looking at doing an RFP for potentially repurposing that location.
Define what an RFP
yes.
is.
RFP, it's request for proposal. Great way to call me out on that one because the acronyms that we use. RFP, request for proposal. So we send the proposal out. We send out the request to multiple organizations or agencies, and they get back to us. Not us, technically in this place, it'd be Multnomah County. But you know, if we send out a request for proposal, we're sending out information or request. People get back to us with proposals that we can review to see what's going to be the best outcome.
Okay.
And so Multnomah County, last time I spoke with them, Multnomah County was going to go through that process to understand how to best repurpose that location and how to best utilize that asset. So that's a great question. And they're really looking, again, to find the highest and best use for that facility once they move from the current library location to the new library location. And the new library location is right on the MAX, right on the bus rapid transit. It's on the 21 line on the north and south. So it's got some tremendous access for all of East County because it's really a regional library facility now that's going to really take in everything that's going on in East County. So super exciting. I mean, super exciting. I just want to say this herbal tea, Ryan, on the team here, I think it's herbal. It's really good. I don't see a flavor, but thank you, Ryan, for
I like that you went
preparing
the herbal route when I went straight black coffee to match my soul.
This is really good. Did you put any sweetener in this, or just straight? Wow.
So we should do more
Yeah.
live events from the comms office. We're
Absolutely. You know what? We didn't even reference where we're coming from, because normally you see us and
we're in your office.
we're in the
usually.
mayor's office, or we're
Yeah.
out on location. Today we actually moved to the comms office, communications office, and that's what you see behind us. I know it looks like one of those standard Zoom backgrounds, but no, this is the real deal.
This is the real
see,
communications office.
it's the real deal
Nice.
back there
Sit
behind
right
us.
there.
This is where they work.
We share it with community engagement.
Exactly.
Emergency management.
So just wanted to highlight our location. Any other questions?
Yes, we just got another question. What is being built at the Old Truffle Restaurant downtown Gresham? Is it apartments or looks like apartments? Am I correct?
That is apartments. Yeah. So it's what we call market rate apartments. So the opportunity for folks at market rate to move there. We've got a similar, much larger project going in across from the Center for the Arts Plaza. That's an 80-unit location, I believe. I think that's the number. The ones that's going in the Old Truffle Hunter location is a smaller build. But as many of us know, I mean, one of the biggest challenges that we have is housing. Not just here in Gresham, not just in the region of the state, but across the country.
Yeah.
Housing is a big challenge. And so that's going to add to our ability to keep people housed and try and keep that higher concentration of density of downtown, kind of in the downtown core, so you can access all the amazing resources that we have down there, which brings me to many times a lot of folks come to Gresham. They'll come to historic downtown Gresham for the first time, and they'll be amazed. They'll be like, "Oh, this is an amazing location." And I, of course, concur wholeheartedly. But what we have in the historic downtown and all the access to everything, really the multifamily housing solutions in that part of the region works really well for folks to have walkable neighborhoods and those types of things. Right across the street is Main City Park down and across a little ways. So a lot of amenities. As a matter of fact, the U.S. Postal Office is right next door,
That
just in
is
case you
good
have
to
to
know.
mail a lot of stuff.
Important to know those
It
things.
is.
Are there any things that you know of in 2024 that you are just really excited about?
2024.
Just looking forward to the
Really-
surprises.
Really
that this year's
excited
gonna
about.
bring.
Well, I mean,
Projects.
I know this.
they-
Well, it's actually the levy. No, that sounds crazy, but the excitement around being able to make investments in the city of
Yeah.
Gresham that are long overdue is something that I get excited about. We have a lot of things that we'd like to move forward to make our community safe, to make our community more accessible, to bring some amenities that folks have been asking for a long time, improvements in our park system.
Mm.
It was something I was just at Cub Scout DIN meeting last night, speaking to
For yourself.
4 young Cub Scouts as the mayor, and they were one of the young women said, "Well, what about our parks? We need to do better with our parks."
I love that.
And fifth grader, this was a fifth grader complaining about that, and then another one of them said, "We need to make our parks more accessible to folks who have disabilities." I mean,
That's a
these are
great
fifth graders who are
Point. I
pointing
love
these
that
out.
they're
So
thinking through that.
exactly, and so those are the challenges that we have.
We may have an additional question.
We do, and it
Okay.
relates to the levy. This is from Bill. He'd love to ask about what changes are anticipated for the safety levy.
Oh, that's a good question.
Great question, Bill. So those have been identified. We've lowered it from $1.50 to $1.35.
Mhm.
We've opened up the opportunity to have more flexibility of how those dollars are going to be spent. That was one of the things that we heard back from
Mhm.
was that folks were like, yeah, the specifics of how you laid it out, I agree with the levy, but kind of disagree with the breakout. And so we ultimately needed a bit more flexibility over time to ensure we're making the right investments in the things that we've identified, which we've identified police, fire, and homeless services.
Great. Okay.
So those are the critical things that that the community have told us we need to make the investments into. And so we've lowered that to $1.35, which, ideally doesn't provide us with all the resources that we
Doesn't
need,
quite
get us.
but it's the balance that we're
Right.
talking to our community about. And our community has answered our call to say,
Yeah.
what do you think we should do here? We appreciate their insight and their input. So those are some of the big changes, that we've made. We've identified specifically key areas of the additional investments that we need to make. But that's some of the great feedback that we received from focus groups and what we've heard from some of our great community members to say, how do we move this forward? Because it is a critical need to make sure, we can provide resources in our fire department, tremendous investments we have to make there, specifically on the capital side, which the levy doesn't specifically address.
True.
But some of the capital things that we need to do there, long overdue. We've got to make those investments. So we appreciate the opportunity to answer that question, and a great question, because again, at 4 p.m. we'll be talking about, kind of an update on the levy conversation. But we, as an organization, as a city, we have to make the investments to achieve what we want to achieve. So
Couldn't agree more.
with that, Sarah, thank you for dropping in on Facebook Live with the
You
mayor.
dropped into the communications
Well,
office.
I think it's called
didn't drop
Facebook
in.
Live with the mayor,
Well, except
and
that-
so then everybody else gets to be the guest.
Fine.
So
Fine.
thank you for dropping in on the Facebook Live with the
in
mayor
the communications office.
in the communications office today. And I like it here. Just like you said, the lighting's really cool.
cozy.
It's brighter. Yeah. So with that, folks, thank you for dropping in with us. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. And as always, take the time and opportunity to drop us questions in the chat. We'll be doing this next month. We'd love to hear what your thoughts and ideas are so that we can move forward in answering those questions as we move forward as a city to ensure we build a city and we continue to develop to achieve the outcomes that our community members want to achieve. So with that, we look forward to a tremendous and phenomenal 2024. And we want to thank all of you for dropping in with us. And like I always say, I appreciate and I am honored to be the mayor of Gresham. It's a really cool city. So with that, Sarah, thank you again for dropping into Facebook with the mayor. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.